With a new class coming out, it's inevitable that some people are going to rush their way to Awakening or even cap level just because. I'm sure anyone who's planning to go all the way to cap doesn't need any tips, as that's a huge undertaking and they wouldn't be going in without a plan. And personally, I just don't have the concentration needed to do that either, so big salute to anybody who's planning to do that. But maybe you do still want to get a leg up on preparations to get yourself running on the new class right away. I've got some tips on things that you can prepare now to be ready to play the new Nunchaku class once it comes out this month. First off, the easy button, a boost card. That's a paid item that costs 1,999 XP, which will vary based on your region but is around 20 bucks. But to hold your horses, a boost card isn't going to be ideal for everyone. On the plus side, you start right away with 500G, your choice of some green costumes, but note there may not be any compatible with the new class added, a set of armor, accessories, and level 70 weapons at fortification level 10, and you're ready to jump right into the mid-game. However, personally, I find if you're willing to put in some time, the amount of experience you can get by starting from level 1 and going up the mainline quest will actually put you in a better spot once you reach the map that you start a boosted character on. The amount of experience you get from quests is not affected by your level, so you don't need to worry about leveling too fast in that respect. Plus, just like with Chibi, there will be a new map released along with the new class, so you'll be missing out on achievements for the new region if they have any for completing the quests in it, as well as the orange quality special costume that Annalisa gives you when you do the quest in Wrathborn Temple. Strictly speaking, if you just want the achievements for new regions but still want to boost, the easiest workaround would be to make the class with a name you don't care about, play through, get the achievements, and then delete, and use your boost card. Just remember the criteria to use a boost card. You must have a character over level 60, you can only have a maximum of 6 boosted characters on your account, and make sure you check that before you buy a boost. It's listed on the bottom of the card. And finally, make sure you've got a character expansion slot if you need one. You can grab those in the LP store. If you've decided to boost, this next section won't be as much help for you, but we're going to talk about leveling up. So, first off, experience. Experience books. If you, like me, have been farming up experience books for months now, you probably have a ton of them. Technically speaking, you will get more experience if you use them at a higher level, but there's something magical about spamming experience books to level up really quickly as soon as you can access them in your storage. Personally, I want to get to a nice high level right away, so I plan to use them as soon as I can access them. But watch out. If you want to make the most of books, as soon as you hit level 50, it's time to use some of the big boys, the orange DP books that cost 20k regular DP. If you use them right at level 50, you will level up and loop all the way around to level 51 at 99.999%. This is because you can't level up twice at once. You can look at this two ways. A great way to spend a whole bunch of normal DP if you have nothing better to use it on, and you can spam books all the way up, or a complete waste to use at level 50 if you have limited resources to spend on DP books. Even if you want to just spam your way up with no consideration for those specific resources, after you use the orange DP book, either use one regular experience book, kill one mob, if you can find one high enough to give you at least 1 EXP, and that might actually get hard, or complete one quest to get to the next level up. Once you're not hitting 99.999% on usage, you can feel free to spam orange DP books to your heart's desire, as you won't lose any experience as long as you're not getting more than 200% from one book. And you can use these all the way up to level 70. My final tip would be to save one for the very end of level 70, so that you can use the last one to jump a ways into 71. After level 71, you can only use regular EXP books. If you have a nice sniper armor set you want to gear up in, like I do, this is a great place to be, and since technically the actual number of EXP points from quests isn't affected by level, if you're interested in a big rush, this is the way to go. You can't use the big books later, and while it will seriously slow down how much % quests give you, it will push you much higher, closer to higher levels in later game without as much of a grind. And that's where we get to quests, the easiest way to get your EXP up. The key is using as many quest EXP buffs as you can, not that there are as many sources as there are for regular EXP. First off, you have 3 kinds of sprites: regular, elite, and VIP. You have to choose between regular and elite, but you can stack a pink VIP sprite with either of them, for a total of 2 sprites. You should get a 7-day regular sprite in the mail at level 10, and you can keep your VIP sprites in the shared storage if you have any, to activate as soon as you can access them. If you're feeling LP rich, you can grab a 1-day elite sprite in the LP store and really commit to 24 hours of go time right from the first quest. Next, Trends. Now that the older trends are cycling again, it might be in your best interest to check what the hat trends are when the class drops to see if you can nab anything cheap from the LP or voucher store to activate it, and you may even want to consider getting your hands on one of the new hats for the new trend. If you're really dedicated to maxing out your EXP, having both is like a free quest EXP book on every quest. And yes, technically you could buy a quest EXP book for every single quest right from the start if you have the LP for it. I do not know how many that is, but if you're really dedicated to maximizing, you absolutely can. I think personally, I will start booking every single quest a little later than the first map. Also, don't forget the little pumpkin contract as well. The functions may still be hidden, but he buffs your move speed, quest EXP, and profession EXP. You should be able to pop it in your costume archive and grab it as soon as your inventory is accessible. And finally, a guild online buff. Once you hit level 10, I'm sure as long as you're willing to be online and rushing, there will be guilds happy to accept new low-level players on the new class to bolster their online numbers. Take advantage of the online buff if you can. I would recommend asking Royal Chat. Maybe you'll even find a new Friendly Forever guild. Next up, preparing your gear. Some of the cores have already spoiled it, but you will need the ranged class cores for the weapons for nunchucks. That is, the ones that guns use. We might see a spike in the price of Soul Sucker ore too, so consider crafting or buying the cores you want now, or selling Soul Sucker ore if you're not really planning on getting any. If you're invested in getting achievements, you'll want to get your hands on Zahir's Unbreakable Spine and Nasruddin's Horn of Power, as well as some mud-filtering teeth now to craft the Zahir and Nasruddin weapons. Additionally, if you want to craft the weapon you get a formula for in Demarek Mines during the main quest, you'll want to get your hands on a Glimmering Miracle Stone Fragment and an Essence of Titanus, both of which you can farm now. You may also want to consider getting your hands on some of the Weapon Mastery books. If you power level the way I plan to, you won't be getting any points in your Weapon Mastery at all for quite a while, since you'll be too high level to get any experience from mobs and dungeons on the maps you'll have access to. And I'll go ahead and mention items for masteries here too, but keep in mind I'm not positive on the meta choices just yet, so you may not necessarily need to get all of these. Remember that class masters and DP have you down for the basics, but to grab the orange tier masteries from the DP book, one requires 2 flame marks, which are rare drops in Pyroclastic Purgatory or community chests. One requires 1440 Power of the Ancients, which are super common drops in the Hall of Filet. One requires 12 Blizzard Berg medals, which should be about 2 days of farming all the quests in Blizzard Berg, and one requires 2 sigils of the Aqua Dragon Queen, which is a somewhat uncommon drop in Siege. This is, of course, on top of preparing all of the normal masteries you'll want, like Zeal, Extreme Speed, Break Defense, and Best Defense or Deep Blue. Now let's take a quick look at the class itself. I don't want to pour over every skill in detail right now, and I do not have the answer as to what element is the best, but I thought I'd mention some interesting things I see when I glance at the skills. Just treat this as a tiny preview. In the base kit, they've got 4 dark skills, 3 ice skills, and 2 physical, as well as a couple non-elemental. Their class buff has 5% evasion, 5% speed, 10% move speed, and a flat speed buff. Nice! Love that move speed. It has combo skills with Bard and Ravager, but remember that combo skills aren't usually super in demand. Their class mechanic seems to be ice skills reduce points and dark skills increase points, and then depending on your positive or negative point balance, you can use a release skill to activate different buffs. It kind of sounds like a combination of Chibi and Whip's mechanics, except that the release will increase your move speed when used. Nice! More move speed. They have a crowd control skill. The use range is 10 meters and the AoE is 8 meters, and it should gather up all the mobs in the AoE and drag them to you while debuffing them. For comparison, Guard's Roar default range for gathering is 15 meters, so this is almost half the size. They also seem to have a chain skill. Not only does it chain across mobs, it will actually buff you and your party, and if you have more party members, you can increase your own crit damage cap. I wonder if Eidolons will count, or summons like Reapers. That could be a really interesting class combo. And again, I'm not going to go in and pull every skill apart here, I just thought those were 2 interesting skills. The paths for weapon mastery appear to be dark and physical on one side, and ice on the other. Chances are you're more likely to have a dark archive than an ice archive anyway, and that's why the new Eidolon works well with the class. Did you notice her sitting alongside the new class in the art that they released? That's right, a new starter Eidolon. English name TBA, but Google Translate suggests Chan Yu? I'm sorry, I really don't know how to pronounce Chinese words very well. Unfortunately, if you want to walk the path of ice, she's not the best, but she is a really great starter for dark. Once she's properly released, I'll run through her details on a short. If you want to prep her wish items ahead of time, I would recommend checking out the database website now. The first 3 are quite easy, but the 4th will require farming archaeology tokens to buy some stones. The 5th needs bait you can buy with fish tokens and 15 blue hardscale fish, which is a green quality fish in a couple maps. And the 6th needs an ancient glimmering fossil, which you can get from velvet arachnids at Candio Marsh. And that's it for now. Personally, if the class drops on one of my normal days off, I'm planning to rush my way through some levels, aiming for, let's say 90 at the most in one day. It really depends on how my overtime work is going. If I do have the time, I'm planning to stream it. I really hope that works out well, and I'd love to see you guys there. Otherwise, good luck on your preparations, and I'm hoping the new class is fun and as fast as it seems. Catch you guys next time.